I remember the sound of their laughter more than the slam of the car door. Drunken, sloppy, cruel. My husband in the driver's seat, his friends in the back. "Let's see how she gets back," he'd chuckled, before pulling away, leaving me under the crooked lamppost of some nameless Italian town at midnight. The engine roared. The taillights disappeared. Silence. That was the moment my marriage ended. I met Daniel 6 years earlier in London. He was the kind of man who filled a room without trying. Sharp suit, sharper tongue, eyes that made you believe he saw only you. I fell fast. I mistook arrogance for confidence, sarcasm for wit. He told me I was different. That's how they always start, isn't it? I believed him. Believed him enough to quit my job, follow him across countries, live inside the orbit of his career, his friends, his endless appetite for being admired. What I didn't realize then was that admiration was oxygen to him, and I was just another breath he'd one day exhale. The signs began small. A laugh at my expense, too sharp to be harmless. A text he angled his phone away to read. Nights with colleagues that stretched into dawn. But it was that night in Italy that stripped everything bare. It wasn't about a fight anymore. It wasn't about love. It was humiliation dressed up as entertainment. He wanted to see me beg, crawl back, prove I couldn't live without him. He underestimated me. I didn't cry. I didn't run after the car. I found it cheap pensiona above a bakery, the kind with peeling wallpaper and a single key for the front door. I stayed quiet, observed, thought. Then I started making calls. I knew enough about Daniel's finances to know the soft spots. Accounts in both our names. Properties where my signature sat beside his. Investments he had bragged about but never monitored closely. For years I had been the silent listener, the quiet shadow. He thought I was naive. What I really was patient. Within 48 hours, I had wired what I legally owned into accounts he couldn't touch. I filed for divorce in absentia through an attorney who owed me a favor. By the time he sobered up from his little joke, the legal avalanche had already started. A week later, I was in Athens. I rented a small flat overlooking the sea. I worked odd jobs, translation, copywriting, anything that kept me moving but invisible. Every sunrise felt like oxygen filling lungs I hadn't known were starving. And yet, I knew he'd come. Men like Daniel don't lose what they believe they own without a fight. His pride was louder than his heart. He found me a month later. I heard the knock before I saw his shadow in the doorway. "Christ, Anna," he said, standing there with that smirk he used to win boardrooms and bedrooms alike. "You really made me chase you." I let him in. Calm, measured. The apartment was bare. Table, 2 chairs, 1 window letting in the Greek light. No clutter, nothing of me he could twist into leverage. "You embarrassed me," he said, pacing. "You made me look like a fool in front of my friends. And then you disappear? Do you know what people are saying about me?" I leaned back in the chair. "That you lost control of your wife?" His jaw tightened. The arrogance cracked. For the first time, he didn't look untouchable. He looked cornered. That's when I laid it out for him. Every account I'd drained, every property now frozen. The divorce papers already filed in a court that wouldn't care about his theatrics. Piece by piece, I dismantled him with words. No shouting, no tears, just facts. "I'm not coming back, Daniel," I said quietly. "You don't have a wife anymore. What you have are consequences." He tried to laugh it off, tried to charm me, threaten me, even beg in a single breath. But the power was gone. He could feel it. The climax wasn't loud, it wasn't violent, it was silence. The silence of him realizing that everything he thought made him untouchable, money, reputation, control, was slipping through his fingers, and I was the one pulling the strings. He left that apartment pale, sweating, defeated. I didn't follow. Now, when I walk through the markets in Athens, when I smell bread baking, or hear the sea against the stone walls, I remember that night in Italy. The laughter, the taillights, the cruelty he thought would tether me to him forever. Instead, it became my freedom. I didn't return. Not to him, not to who I used to be. And if he still tells the story to his friends, he probably edits it. Leaves out the part where the joke ended with him being the punchline. I don't need to tell my version out loud. I'm living it.